Okay, good evening, everyone. So, COVID-19 left the world close to shambles, and now we continue to pick up the pieces and drive forward. But CFOs are concerned about a second wave hitting soon, which will bring about a further economic downturn. In response, CFOs are shifting their focus to how they can create sustainable business model using cloud accounting technology and cloud-based applications, so they can better adapt to the new realities of working and doing business at an unpredictable time. No matter the situation, never give up. That is from the message from us. So those who don't know me, let me give an introduction about myself. I'm Paul Mitchen. I'm the founder of the Cloud Accounting Academy and Cloud E-commerce Accountants. So I'm a chartered and management accountant with over 12 years experience in the industry. Today, our topic is UK accounting, bookkeeping, payroll management, and VAT. First of all, let me introduce our moderator. He's none other than Mr. Shafraz. He's an experienced and certified ERP consultant, an accounts manager, and visiting lecturer to the local universities. And our keynote speaker is Mohamed Shafraz. He's a chartered and management accountant with over 15 years experience in the UK and Sri Lankan account and finance industry. He's working as a senior consultant to a Cloud Accounting Academy, and he's a certified Xero partner and education consultant and Citizen Bank. Faslan and Shafraz, it's over to you all.
Hi guys. Hi everyone. So we have got Shafraz, who is our facilitator today. So he'll be conducting about certain UK business practices, and also in terms of how cloud technology can be accompanying all these, business practices in terms to UK and everything. So Shafraz, it's over to you. So you can start the session. Yeah. So we can go through, and if you have any questions, guys, always feel free to use the chat box, because we don't want Shafraz to have any disturbance during his the knowledge sharing. Yeah. So any questions, you can drop on the chat. So myself and Paul is there, so we can take over the questions, and later we can give it to Shafraz and we can answer as well. Yeah, all good. So Shafraz, it's over to you. There you can start and give your knowledge on this. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Paul and Fazlan.
Yeah.
It's a great pleasure. And actually, very good evening to everyone. And let me introduce myself first. So actually, I'm, as Paul said, I'm a senior consultant for the Cloud Accounting Academy, and also basically the chartered management accountant. Having said that, have got nearly about 15 years experience in UK in terms of bookkeeping, and also especially in financial accounting and the management accounting as well. I have worked many accountancy firms, especially say cloud bookkeeping, where most of the cloud applications are basically taking place. And also I have worked in Sri Lanka as well, many accounting firms like KPMG and Video and so on and so forth. So I have got a great knowledge to share myself with this about UK accounting, bookkeeping, and as well as the self-assessment and so on and so forth. So straight away, we'll start the session. I'm just going to briefly tell about the cloud system, why nowadays the cloud system is so important for the society and basically for the entire world. So if you look at earlier days, basically, now the cloud system is, is not applicable in those days. So nowadays this world is moving so fast, so everything is, like moving digital everywhere. So because of that reason, in order to speed up every organization business, and also basically how business organization as a business owners to conduct their business, it is easy for them if they move into the cloud system. For example, if you take Xero, if you take QuickBooks Online, Free Agent, Cashflow, Mayo, all those are cloud. So we can work, smarter is online reporting tools available, and especially, the faster decision making, and so on up to so forth. It could be anywhere. Okay, you can sit down at home, relaxedly, and see, for example, like, okay, I want how much money in my bank account, how much my bottom line, how much money I have to owe. So these are the very important features available in the cloud, and also especially in terms of security, is automatically backup. So these are the basic reason why the cloud accounting system is nowadays most important. Okay, let me start with UK accounting as well as bookkeeping course straight away. Let me share my screen first. Great. Okay, UK accounting, VAT and payroll management. If you take the city of London, so it's very beautiful, the city of London is a financial hub of the UK. Well, so now I need to introduce some statistic about, briefly about UK. So as you all know, UK is really nowadays growing smartly and is a developed country as well. So the statistic, if you go for the statistic, the population is about nearly 67 million, roughly 60 as of 1st January 2020, which is basically is a professional figure. And GDP is a gross domestic product, 2.744 million is a nominal, based on 2019 is estimated. And also you have 2744 trillion, and the purchasing power parity, you have 1.62 trillion. And if you take a GDP growth rank, it's a 6 nominal based on 2019, and also is 9th of purchasing power parity. And what about the GDP growth? So GDP growth is about 13%. If you say 13%, which is on 2018, and whereas 14% on 2019, as 6.5% 2020, that is what currently we are in 2020. So it's basically 6.5. So they are predicting, because of this pandemic and and preceding situation, they are predicting, they are estimating 2021 the UK GDP growth could be 4%, or it could be like maybe the later 2021. It's all like it's a prediction. And also GDP per capita, and so on up to so forth. And industry-wise, if you look at the industry-wise, agriculture 0.6%, and also industry 19.2%, and the services is basically 80.2%. So those are the GDP by sector. Right, okay, perfect. Now we'll go for the taxation in so we'll start with basically the taxation in the United Kingdom. So before that, I just want to explain the taxation in the United Kingdom may involve the payment to at least 3 different levels of the government. So if you take Sri Lanka, so you have a certain level of tax. You have a, say for example, PAYE, you have a corporation tax and income tax and so on and so forth. Or similarly, in the UK also, you have a taxation in the United Kingdom may involve payments to at least 3 different levels of government. Number one, the central government, that is we are calling as a HMRC, and the devolved government, and also the local government. So if you take a central government, revenues come primarily from, say you have income tax, and the national insurance contribution, and the value added tax, the corporation tax, and the fuel duty. So these are the, in terms of the central revenue, income basically primary from. And also the local government revenue come from primarily from, it could be grants from central government funds, the business rates, you know, the local council business rates in England, and the council tax, and increasingly from the fees, you know, charges like those for non-street parking. We are basically calling as a motor expenses. Tax, MOT tax, right? Okay. So we'll have a look. So in details, these different kind of tax, we'll have a look in details. Okay, first what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain. So once this is taxation part, you know, there are so many taxation as I explained to you earlier. I want to start with basically, you know, the VAT. So as you all know, basically, so in Sri Lanka also we have VAT, so which is currently is basically 8%. So now let's start with VAT introduction, VAT introduction. Okay, if you take, you know, so what is basically is a VAT? So VAT is a value-added tax, is levied on the sale of goods and the services in the UK. So it is a type of the consumption. You are saying is basically it is a types of the consumption tax, because it is charged on item that people buy, and also is an indirect. So we are calling this is a not a direct tax, but it is an indirect tax because it is collected by business on behalf of the UK government. Therefore, we are calling as an indirect tax. So that is very brief. You know, everyone understand about this VAT, right? You can call as a consumption, or it could be as an indirect tax, right? Okay, next. Now, if you look at the VAT rate, right? So there are, you know, the patterns, how has the VAT rate changed? Okay, actually, primarily in UK, VAT was introduced in 1973, replacing the purchase tax. Earlier, we are calling as a basically as a purchase tax. So this previous tax was levied when goods, services were produced, right? So, and distributed not when they were sold, as in the case with VAT. So the purchase tax had a different rate for different type of goods, right? Okay, so if you look at here, year 1973 earlier, so it started with, you know, the 10%. And also if you look at 1979, 74 to 79, 8%, 79 to 91, 15%, then 91 to 2008, 17.5. And from 2009 to 2011 is 17.5, whereas from 2011 till today, it was 20%. Therefore, the current VAT rate in UK is 20%. Okay, so what are the current VAT rates in the United Kingdom? So we'll have a look what are the current VAT rates in the United Kingdom. So first of all, if you go for basically the standard, right? The standard rate of VAT in the United Kingdom is currently at 20%. So this is the rate mostly charged on, you know, the most purchases, but there are other VAT rates which you need to be aware of as a business. For example, if you look at the 20%, 20% it could be on the confectionery, it could be on the food and drinks and the chocolates, and also there are alcohol or those stuff. So standard is basically 20%. Then you have a reduced rate. The reduced rate is charged on the 5%, which is sanitary products and the energy saving measure and the children's clothing, seats, and is charged at 5%. And you have a zero rate. So zero rate, as the name suggests, charge at the zero. So this is applied to most, say, for example, foods and the books, newspapers and magazines, children's clothes. Although no VAT is charged, the sale of zero rate goods and services to be recorded and reported on your VAT return. Of course, because the reason is this is not the exempt, but there are two different things. You have the exempt VAT and the no VAT. But zero rate is basically you have to declare in your tax return. There is a key difference between exempt and then the zero rate. Okay. On top of that, some items are exempt. If you look at the postage and stamps and the financial and the property transaction, these are the exempt items. So exempt item in your VAT return, we don't need to declare that. So no VAT is charged on these goods. However, these do not need to be counted in your taxable turnover. So the 20%, 5%, and 0% will be counted on the taxable turnover. Okay. So now there are so many VAT schemes. I'm going to explain. There are so many VAT schemes basically is available. If you look at, say, for example, it's a standard scheme and the annual accounting scheme and cash accounting scheme and the flat rate scheme. Okay, let me explain what is the standard. If you look at from the UK point of view, the standard scheme is basically is based on the accrual concept. That is, whether that invoice is based on the accrual. It's not on the cash payment or the cash receipt. So irrespective of the cash paid or receipt, you have to account for. That is, whether it could be 20%, it could be 5%, or it could be 0%, or it could be no VAT. So you have, that is a standard scheme. Then what is an annual accounting scheme? Annual accounting scheme, instead of you are filing the VAT return quarterly, right? You have to file under this annual accounting scheme on a yearly basis, not the quarterly basis. But if you take the UK, you know, like mostly in UK, most of the business organizations, they're adopting a standard scheme, right? Which is not the annual. So they don't, you know, they don't file based on the annual accounting. So, you know, they wait for 1 year, then at the end of the 1 year, they will file. No. So every quarter, every 3 months, they will file. So that is, so I would say 90% of the UK companies, they are adopting the standard scheme. And the cash accounting scheme is, this is where I already told, based on the cash receipts as well as the payment. But you can't go under this accounting scheme, the accrual concept. That is purely based on this is purely based on the cash payment and the receipt. And what is a flat rate scheme? The flat rate scheme is like, you know, for example, you have a certain taxable turnover, right? Then in that particular turnover, what you have to do is, you are basically accounting for a VAT based on the certain, it's not on the 20%, right? It's based on the certain percentage. That percentage will be vary from the industry to industry. For example, it could be 14%. It could be 5%, it could be 12%, right? It will be vary. So that's a flat rate scheme. That is based on the gross sale. But normally, when you are invoicing, what you have to do is you have to invoice based on the 20%. And also in the supply invoice is also basically 20%, you know, the input to that and output to it. But when you are accounting for the flat, when you are declaring to HMRC, you can't declare, you can't claim that input VAT. Only you have to say, for example, either it depends on the industry to industry. I will show you later. 15% or maybe it could be 7%, 8% based on the gross sale. So that is called a flat rate scheme. So it's sometimes, you know, you have to make a various you have to do a feasibility study for a new startup company, whether that trade scheme is good or maybe standard scheme. Sometimes, some company, flat rate scheme is suitable. Some companies, standard scheme is suitable. Some companies, cash accounting scheme. So these are all depends on their turnover, their nature of the business, and so on and so forth. Right now, we'll go further. So who pays VAT and how often? So business you have business with a turnover of more than 85,000 must register to pay and charge VAT on the products and services. So this is the VAT threshold in UK. So 85,000 is the VAT threshold. And other businesses can choose to register for VAT, and for some reason you can choose to register for VAT voluntarily. And VAT usually paid on a quarterly basis. For example, if it is 31st August, then it has to be filed, and payment also has to be made on or before 7. For normally 31st August means the end of the September. But here you have 1 month and 7 days, right? So you have to pay by 7. So that is basically the deadline period. You can opt to pay different method, for example, online, telephone banking, card payments, and so on and so forth. Okay, how to charge VAT invoices need to include, okay, so for example, so in the invoice number is there, and the invoice date, and the name and address of the business. The VAT, so it's a normal procedure, the VAT registration number. Once you register for the business, yes, you have VAT registration number, and the customer's name is and the address, and you have a description of the goods and services covered. And for each item on your invoice, you should make clear what is the unit price excluding. This is the format of the VAT invoice, and the quantity, right? And the VAT rate, 20% or 5% or 0, and the total to pay excluding VAT, and you have a VAT amount. You have, if there's any cash discount, you have basically VAT cash. So let's have a look at the recent UK VAT news, right? So if you look at the recent UK VAT news, the VAT in restaurants, hotels, and cinemas cut to 5% until January 21. Earlier, so as I told you before, it's a 20%. Now, because of this special pandemic situation, the Chancellor, right, his name is Mr. Sunak, so he's the UK Chancellor. So he cut to 5%. So it's very great, especially for the hospitality and the tourism industry, right, until January 2021. The cut intended to give businesses in hospitality and the leisure sector the confidence that the demand will be met as they reopen, right? Then, and also the Chancellor said in his mini budget, this is a 4 billion catalyst for the hospitality and the tourism sector. So nearly benefiting nearly 150,000 businesses, and the consumers everywhere, they are benefiting because of this, that cut 5%, and they are helping to protect 24 million jobs, right? The reduced rate will apply to sales of food and non-alcoholic drinks from restaurant, pubs, bar, cafe, and similar premises across the UK. And also the Chancellor said the tax cut would apply to eating or hot takeaway food from the restaurant, cafe, and pub accommodation in hotels and bed and breakfast, and campsite and caravan site, and also as well as cinemas and the theme parks and zoo as well. And also is a decision to cut the rate. So the government has already introduced in response to the coronavirus pandemic. So more than nearly 400,000 businesses have been able to defer the VAT payments until the next March. So these are the, the recent UK VAT news. Right, okay. Now, before I come to the payroll, I'm just, it's better to have interaction with the questions and answer session with this particular UK VAT accounting, so that, I can share with my knowledge and experience how in practical terms, okay, for example, when you are working in the back office or when you are going to start a business, maybe in the future in UK. So if there's any questions and answers, you can ask or basically through chat or something.
I think, Shafraz, we have received questions. So what we can do is at the end of the presentation, we can, take one by one. So we'll get it over there, right?
Sure. Thank you, Fazlan. That's great. Thank you. Okay, so let's start with now. Right, payroll and introduction to PAYE. Right, okay. So now in the UK payroll, so it's normally like, everyone knows about the PAYE, right? It's a pay as you earn. So as an employer, you normally have to operate the PAYE scheme, right? This is basically it's a salaried employee as part of your payroll. So PAYE is the HMRC. We are calling as in Sri Lanka earlier HMRC is the Inland Revenue Department. Now it's HMRC and Customs system to collect income tax and the national insurance from employment. You don't need to register for PAYE if none of your employees are paid £120 or more a week. So we get expenses and beneficiaries have. So in other words, the people, like you have to register for the PAYE only they are paid £120 or more a week, right? If it is less than £120, you don't need to basically be registered for the PAYE. And also, okay, what are the payments and deduction? So when paying your employees through payroll, you also need to make deduction for PAYE. So that is the one thing. And then payments to employees, it could be, salary, wages, as well as things like, and it tips, the bonuses and statutory sick or maternity pay. And there are some deduction. For example, like you need to deduct, like to the tax, which is calling as a PAYE. And like Sri Lanka, you have EPF and ETF. I will explain to you later. We are calling as a national insurance contribution. This is for the from employees' point of view as well as the employer's point of view. So other deduction you may need to include, for example, it could be a student loan repayment or a pension contribution. So these are the deduction from the pay, and also there are some payments like bonus, tips, and so on and so forth. So this is a very simple, so everyone knows about what is the how payroll system works. Similarly, like Sri Lanka, the UK payroll system also works. Right now, we go for the national insurance rates and the category. So you have employees national insurance, and also you have employers national insurance. So if you look at the employees class 1 national insurance is made up of the contribution, right? We are calling as a contribution. Deducted from the pay, the employees' national insurance contribution. Basically, I will tell you what is the rate, right? It's paid by the employer. The employer's national insurance, right? And the amount deducted and paid depend on the employees' national insurance category letter, okay? And also how much of the employee's earnings fall, right? So it depends on the NI letter, and how about the employee's earnings and which band is falling down, and employee national insurance rates as well. So basically, okay, we'll have a look at the table here. I'm going to show you the table, right? It's from the UK government website, right? Right, so this is we are calling as a HMRC because nowadays we are calling as a government.uk. So that is basically is a HMRC, the website. So all the taxes, it could be PAYE and national insurance contribution, and income tax, business tax, so on up to so forth. So if you look at here, national insurance rates, contribution rates, right? These are the category letter, employee national insurance rate, right? Okay, these are the categories. So mostly in UK, this table shows how much employers deduct from employees' pay. So as an employer, how much? Like for Sri Lanka, you got sometimes 12%, 8%, sometimes 15%. Okay, so it depends. Likewise here, this is the employee's deduction by employer has to make. If the category letter A shows, right, on this category, mostly it's a 12%. So, most of the UK business organizations, since the staff appear, the payment falls between 183 to 962, right, a month, right, 12%, that is the employee national rate. For example, okay, if you are in category letter A, if you earn £1,000 in a week, you will pay 183, right? And 12%, 93.8 on your earnings between 183 and 962. Whereas here 2%, if you go for here 2%, side and over 962 per week, or it could be 4,167 per month. So these are the employee NIC rate. So if you look at the employer NIC rate, it is 13.8. Standard in UK is the employer is 13.8, whereas the employee is 12. So most of the UK employees are falls in the category letter A. Okay, so I will explain to you later what is the category letter A. So this is what we are. So now here, if you look at there's a class 1A and a class 1B rate as well, right? So mostly these are the rate. 2021 rate is basically 13.8. So what is the category letter? If you go for the website, UK government website, mainly this we are calling as a regulatory body, the tax regulatory body in UK. If you look at category letter A, all employees apart from B, C, J, H, M, and so this is a mainly. So if you look at B, it's a specially category letter for the married woman and widows entitled to pay. So it's a reduce, especially for the married woman and the widows. They have a reduced NIC. It's really good, like unlike Sri Lanka. So and C employees over the state pension age. Okay, you have a special rate category C. If you look at the category C, right? So there are certain the rates applicable to the state pension, and like like there's apprentice letter H, employees under 21, and so on up to so forth. And you have a special category letter X also, that is employees can use category letter X for employees who don't have to pay a national, so they don't have to pay. For example, because they are under 16, right? They're very young age. So they can use category letter X. So these are based on this category letter, what you have to do is employers have to deduct national insurance contribution, which is employees NIC, they have to deduct. Right, okay, so these are we'll go back to the contribution rate. And same, for example, employee also, see, based on the B category, also up to C category, 13.8. If you go for employer, up to all the over 4167 is 13.8, right? And whereas the special exceptional situation, right? If it is up to 4167, there is no contribution, right? Employers don't. So especially this particular category H letter. So in standard, remember employer 13.8, and whereas the employees basically 12%. Okay, we'll go back to the presentation. So now here, next one, UK, I'm going to explain about now. This is simply about the payroll. So in the payroll, you have to you should know the PAYE, how PAYE system is operating, and you should know basically the category letter, and also basically the employers and employees contribution. Right? This is how you have to register for the PAYE in advance. For example, if you're opening up a new company, right, in UK, you have to register with HMRC as an employer. Then once you have registered, then you can start paying employees by adopting a new accounting software like Xero or QuickBooks or so on and so forth. Okay. Now let me explain about a UK self-assessment system. Okay. So basically, what is a UK self-assessment system? Is very similar self-assessment system like Sri Lanka. You know, it's all self-employed people, right? Okay. Let me share my screen. This again is basically we are going back to the UK HMRC website. So working for yourself. Okay. Let me share the tax code as well. So in parallelly, I can explain. Right. Okay. So working for yourself, if you start working for yourself, you are classed as a sole trader. So you all know, you know. So for example, if you are working, right, you are a sole trader. So this means you are self-employed, right? Even if you haven't yet told HMRC, but you are self-employed. There are certain, see, if you look at here, there are set up as self-employed. There are certain steps. So check if being self-employed is right for whether I am suitable for the self-employed, or maybe can I open a limited company, or maybe it's okay if I want to work for a company, whether under the not the self-assessment basis, but the PAYE system is suitable or not, right? So whether it could be limited company or partner in a business, or maybe then choose the name. If you want to choose a sole trader, you can choose a name. Even name in the sense, for example, you can choose your own name as well, and check what records you have to show, and finally the register for the tax. So tax means, first of all, you have to apply for a national insurance. Now it's very important in UK, you have to apply for a national insurance number, we call NIC number. So once you apply, then you can start a business, then you register for a self-employment and register for a self-assessment, right? So these are the steps basically you have to follow. So working for yourself, running a business, you are probably self-employed. Say for, as per the UK, you probably self-employed if you run your business for yourself and take responsibility of its success or failure. Have several customers at the same time, of course. So you can decide how, where, and when you do. But if you are working for some company, say you can't decide, right? How, and employer has to decide. So this is like you got a freedom. You can hire other people at your own expense to help you to do the work for you. So provide the main items of equipment, and you are responsible for finishing any unsatisfactory work, charge and agreed fixed price for your work, and so on and so forth. So basically these are so how you can check whether you can check self-employed, whether online, by phone, you can check, right? You could be classed as a trader if you sell goods or services. If you are trading, you are self-employed. You are likely to be trading if you sell, for example, sell regularly to make a profit, or, make items to sell the profit, sell online. So register as a self-employed. So if you are self-employed, you may need to set up as a sole trader, right? So these are and there are some helps with the business. Okay, let me explain the codes, the tax code. So it's very important, So these are the tax code and what are the rates, personal allowance. Okay, now when you are going for the UK, right, the self-assessment, basically everyone has a personal allowance. In UK, there is a personal allowance called 12,500. It's a personal allowance. So you have a certain, so up to 12,500, you have no tax, right? Then after 12,500, say for example, you have a taxable profit, say 50,000, right? So up to 12,500, you have a relief. So after 12,500, you have a certain bands. Okay, you have, okay, how much? 20%. Then you have a 37.5. You have a basic rate, you have, for example, is a higher rate, additional higher rate, and so on and so forth. Okay, if you go here, check if your tax code is correct. Okay. So what is your tax code? Your tax code will normally start with a number, say number, and so number and the letter. So the tax office assignee, what they are doing is they take the personal allowance 12,500, they remove 10 and they put L. The L code is basically the standard. It's the standard tax code currently used by the most people who have one job or maybe pension. It could be for a job or it could be for their pension, right? How numbers are worked out, okay? But now I'm going to click the numbers in your tax code, tell your employer or pension provider how much tax-free income you get in the particular tax year, right? For example, okay, what is the letter? Okay, before I come to that, I'm going to explain, for example, let's look at the L letter. L letter means definitely the tax office will put the letter. It should be 1,250, for example, okay. Now look at this way. 12,500 is a personal amount. Let's say myself, I have two jobs, right? I'm earning, one is 10,000 pounds per year from one job. Other job, basically, I'm earning 2,500. So you basically, so what you can do, even you can split your personal amount between two jobs so that you won't be taxed, right? Just for example, up to 12,500. If I'm earning 12,500 from the two jobs, my joint income is 12,500. You can call HMRC or you can contact HMRC, say, look here, I want my income to be split. So 10,000, then 12,500. So what the tax office will do is they will split. One is for one job, 10,000. Other job is basically 2,500. That's how you can, in order to pay less tax, you can do that as well. So letters A, you are entitled to the basic, that's the standard tax-free element. If you go for M, it's a marriage element. You receive a transfer of 10% of your partner's personal allowance. So you have say for example, your partner personal allowance is 12,500 standard. So basically you are receiving 10%. So when the tax office is using letter M at the end of some number, basically it's a transfer. Like M, you have transferred 10% of your personal allowance to your partner. It's like this. Okay, understand? And also T, so your tax code include other calculation to work out your personal. So likewise, you have a BR code. BR code is always an emergency code. We are calling as a basic rate, right? And likewise, you have a D0 stand for higher rate. Okay, so these are the letters. These are the letters. There are so many letters available. So depends on the. We are calling BR code mean basic tax rate code, which is an emergency tax code. Because, once we have applied for a job, right, any employee or maybe even self-assessment, the tax office doesn't know, right, whether I have a different job or maybe, what kind of the job I'm doing. It could be I have some other income, for example, rental income. I might have, say, for example, I might receiving pension, right? So for example, I might have worked from the different company. I don't have a, say, for example, P45. I will explain to you P45. So those things, like in that particular circumstance, tax office will use the emergency BR code, right? Okay. So for example, I just forgot to explain one thing when I'm doing the payroll. We have a P45 and we have a P46 and we have a P32 and we have a P11 as well. So P46 means once the new employee has joined, right, the employer has to apply for that particular person, starting with the employment. So the particular employer has to apply P46, there's a form, say for example, employment details and you might have, say, national insurance number, address, and how much the salary amount, all those things. So that is P46. If that particular person comes from the different employment, then they use P45, right? So the existing employer has to give P45 to a new employer, right? That is called as a 45. And the P32, these are the, like certain form. P32 means it's a composed of you have a national insurance, and basically you have a, say for example, PAYE tax liability, and you have a student loan deduction. All those things I will show you later. All those things comes under P32. P11, same. It could be employees national insurance, employers national insurance, and so on and so forth. Okay. So these are the the tax code. So we'll look at the personal allowance here. So if you go for the tax-free, so if you go for, as I told you, it's a 12,500. So your personal allowance may be bigger, right? It could be bigger. It depends on your circumstances. If you look at this band, up to 12,500 is zero, right? From starting from 12,500 to, we are calling this is a PAYE tax, right? This is the income tax band, right? And higher rate from 50,001 to 150,000, 40%. Then you have a above and over 150,000, we have a 45% is basically is a tax rate. We are calling this as a PAYE, right? Like Sri Lanka, you have a tax rate. So this is basically the band, right? So if you are employed to get a pension, you must always check your income tax code to see whether your personal allowances and tax code is correct, how much you have paid in the current tax year, or those. And you have other allowances, for example, like the saving interest, tax-free allowance, the dividends, if you own a shares in a company, and also, for example, if you take the tax-free allowance, your first £1,000 of income from self-employment, this is the trading. You have a trading allowance, right? The personal allowance different from the trading allowance. For example, I don't have much expenses, so the tax office has given from your income, you can deduct £1,000 expense. You're calling as a trading allowance, right? Your first £1,000 of income is property you rent. That is also basically, for example, it's kind of an allowance, right? So pay less. So this is about calling about the rate, income tax rate. Right, so we'll go back to the presentation. So this is basically tax code already I have explained. If you further go for the tax code, especially like in Sri Lanka, we have Inland Revenue Department. It's something government.uk is the HMRC, Inland Revenue Department, right? So you have an emergency tax code, right? See, can you see 1,250 stand for week 1, and you have M1, right? So you may be put on emergency tax code, as I explained to you earlier. If you have started a new job, right? Tax officer doesn't know what other income I have, like could be rental income, dividend income, or maybe interest. Working for an employer after being so for some period you are self-employed, now you are you're going for a new employment as a PAYE basis, or getting company benefits or the state pension. Okay. So you always have to check your tax code. That is very, very important, right? If you go for, you can here, I just show you here, UK tax code explained from a different website, right? Say for example, letter same. So that's what I told you. The same thing, BR. So it is an abbreviation for basic rate, right? Or your income from the particular job, or maybe pension. You have a D0. So these are the higher rate band, and D1 stands for additional. So these are the tax code, and week 1 meaning you have a special tax code. So you have emergency tax code. How to get tax code update, and there are so many things are there, right? So you have to you can inform HMRC the change tax code online as well, right? So that's about the UK self-assessment. Now we'll go for the management accounting and the financial accounting. So So this is where the the very important point. So what about the management accounting? So everyone knows about management accounting, the financial accounting. I'm going to show you Xero how management accounting can. A little bit brief explanation about the Xero, right? Let me share my presentation in Xero as well, right? And also the management accounting, especially for the the internal management purpose. The management purpose, that is the internal decision making purpose. Like for example, say as a management of a company, as a director of a company, if I want to, how much I am, my company is making a profit, the bottom line, right? For example, especially for the okay, what are the key ratios available? So based on the ratios, based on the variance analysis, management can shareholders or banks, the tax office, so on and so forth. Right? So this is financial accounting. We have say for example, financial statement, profit and loss. Sometimes, especially you have to give, say, your shareholders, right? If you want to know about the earning per share, right? Shareholders want to know how your particular company is financially wealthy, financially sound. Then that is very important. The report, the financial report is very important, right? Okay, let me share my Xero so that I can show you how to take the reports, financial accounting, and the bookkeeping. Let me open my Xero. So, it's very beautiful. So I'm going to share my presentation very, very briefly about Xero. Right, okay, Xero is coming. So before I just start with, let me share my, okay. So I hope that you all can see. Right. So I'll just quickly go through. So why is Xero is a cloud software? As you all know, basically it's a cloud software, right? We can work smarter, faster, and the better overview and the improved collaboration, right? And earlier, if you look at the earlier, the work is always used to be a place. Look at here, we sit down, you have to go to office and sit down, open up the email. Nowadays not like that. So now it's anywhere. So it could be, it's any time. It could be any device. It could be laptop, right? It could be tab. It could be even from the phone, right? From the phone. So this is the beautiful of the cloud accounting software. Okay, let me introduce Xero, the brief introduction. So Xero is basically is a New Zealand-based software that offers a cloud-based accounting software, right? The platform for the small and medium-sized business. It's online accounting. So it's like, it's basically the internet accounting software that connects you. You mean as a business owner, as a business organization, to your accountant, to the bookkeeper. So for example, if you have accountant and the bookkeeper, business organizations can connect your accountant to the bookkeeper. And not only that, the bank, your bank as well, and offers a wide range of options for you to connect the real time with everything that supports the growth of your business. So whatever in order to support whatever the growth of business, the Xero can connect. Would be, the bank feed is there, automatic bank feed, real-time decision making, real-time reporting, and the beautiful dashboard. I can show you. And according to the Forbes, he is a winner, the Accounting Excellence, the Small Business Accounting Software of the Year under Practitioners Guide 2018, right? And still its most innovative growth company is upmarket, especially in New Zealand and also in Australia and especially in UK as well. Because when I'm working in UK, I work for many companies, Xero. The most of the clients, because the clients even they use the QuickBooks, they are coming to Xero, because they are realizing the importance of Xero, right? So that is why it's the Xero is upcoming market. The world most innovative growth company still is the world most innovative growth company. And if you look at the 1.8 million subscribers worldwide in over 180 countries, what is Xero? The Xero is an award-winning online accounting system that puts small business owners back in control, right? And Xero gives small businesses and the advisors easy access to bank transaction and invoices, reports, even back to anytime, anywhere, right? And you can do beautiful business with Xero, and you have a Xero mobile a version at anytime, anywhere. You can do a beautiful bank reconciliation on the top of the finger, sales invoice. So this all I will show you practically. So why customers love Xero? So you have a clear view of your current financial position. So that is why the customers love Xero. So everything is online, right? So there's nothing to install. Everything is backed up automatically. Updates are free and instantly available, right? And you have a multi-user. So for some, say for example, some software, you might have a single. For example, QuickBooks, not online, your desktop software, a single user, or it could be expensive. So multi-user access make it easy to collaborate online with your team and advisor at parallelly. And again, it's a safe and the secure data. And okay, you have a sales, I will show you. And these are the the template, online purchases, and these are the template, right? The bank reconciliation, and the payroll. Right, okay, let me quickly go to the practical. And in terms of it's a security, it's a typically delivers a similarly a secure method of storing data as a traditional accounting software. You don't have to worry about that because all the remote servers have basically is a robust security protocol. Where, for example, laptop or tablet is lost or stolen. So having a remote storage is a really a good, and information is safe from the breach. Okay, right. Okay, so let me open my Xero here. Right. Okay. So this is basically, the main dashboard, right? The very quick introduction, main dashboard, right? It's like the demo software. So you have say for example, you have a bank here. What are the banks? And you have a cash total in and out with a bar chart. You can see February, March, all what is coming in, going out, and what are the invoice owed to you. So for example, bills need to pay. So these are the main dashboard. Okay, you can do a beautiful reporting. Okay, you have a business here. Say, okay, you have the sales overview, the bills to pay, right? And you have a shortcut here, right? All the bills. So for example, if you click this invoice, you go for the invoice. The shortcut is available. If you take into the news, these are the invoice template, right? And again, you go for quick, then you have a bill, right? The purchase supply, and you do the bill. So how I can do the management accounting, and how can do the financial accounting Xero? Okay, you go for accounting and the reports, right? You have a profit and loss, right? So even though it's basically a part of the financial accounting, of course. Okay, now let me click this financial year, right? So I'm comparing with, say, for example, one period, which is the last period. Beautifully, if you want to use it, for example, show percentage of the turnover, we just update here, right? So it will show, okay, you have a 21 and what's the percentage? Say for example, your gross profit margin is there, all those. So it's a part of a financial accounting, right? And you can, and even you can go for the monthly, for example, this month, right? And you go for, say, for example, I'm compared with the 12 month. You can do a monthly management accounts. You go here and do a percentage of turnover updates, right? So all the 12 months will be coming. Let's see, can you see? See, you have a June, right? June, July, and you have June, May, and so on and so forth. So this is basically it's a part of the management accounting. You can do a percentage, and all the percentage, key performance indicators there, and you can do a variance analysis. The budgeting is there, and you can edit a layout, right? Edit layout. It's uploading. Right, say you can say, for example, this is a layout, right? So if you want to customize, yes, of course, it's possible. Say, okay, I'm doing here, say, for example, management accounts. Say, can you see? Management account, right? So you have here, you have, say, for example, you have a column, right? Say, for example, I'm adding the budget, right? So budget column, right? Done. Adding the budget column. It's uploading, bear with me. Sometimes, it's because it's working on the cloud. So because of the coverage also will be there. Right, perfect. See? So can you see here? Management accounts. So, yeah, so you can do, it's very beautiful. So these are the reports, right? And even you go for here accounting, if you want to take your order, age payables, age receivable, and you have a balance sheet. So it's part of the, the financial accounting. Right, okay. So this is how you have to do the bookkeeping and accounting in Xero. Okay, now, so we are going back to the receipt bank application. This is the final one, right? Before I conclude the session. So receipt bank, is very popular. Let me show my the screen. So this is basically, I'm just showing you the website. So this is basically, this is a remote working tool, especially for the accountants and the bookkeepers, right? So as basis work smarter, grow faster. You can snap your receipt, like for example, with receipt bank, you can spend less time on manual tasks and more time on adding value for clients, And so there's a world-class data extraction is there, instant receipt capture. You just, for example, your clients can send you paperwork, which could be, via app or email, and foreign currency, so automated. So instant receipt scanning. So can you see here? So you can download the app from the receipt bank, right? So this is the integration. Receipt bank is basically, so what the receipt bank is do is, it's an integration with the Xero. So for example, like you capture the receipt, or you just send email, whatever all the 50 invoices or the supply invoices, you have the sales invoices, bank statements, so on and so forth. Then automatically what the receipt bank will capture all the receipts and the bank statement. Then on the certain unique feature of the receipt bank is You just integrate with Xero, automatically all the accounting codes and accounting transaction will be available in Xero. So you have integration with Xero. Let me show my account so that you all know. Okay, this is how the receipt bank looks like. Right. So this is basically use the main dashboard, right? For example, you have here, if you go for workspaces, right here, you have a cost, right? You have a cost, right? So say, for example, this is where if you take inbox 1, right? So see, we just, we have uploaded. These are, these are the uploaded items from, from the receipt bank. So these are the uploaded, right? And you have a sales, how we are going to upload. And you have expenses report here. You have a bank. You order. You have a list of suppliers. All the suppliers list are there. These are all the suppliers list, right? And you have, say, for example, customer list. And you have the categories. The categories mean all the chart of accounts. So how I am going to add a cost? So for example, if you're going to add a cost, how are you going to add a cost? So you go here, if you go for cost, right? Say for example, see add a cost. Now here, say either you can upload the drag and drop your items here, right? Or you have email. In the email, if you look at here, is my email address. So you can email all the invoices receipt straight to receipt bank, so that you know how email works, the unique receipt bank. Then you can just quickly upload, and you have up. You just snap the receipt. See, can you see? Snap. Send me a link. The free apps have available, right? Or maybe other. It could be for other, like for example, say go to my other. If you have other, say for example, PayPal you can integrate, or maybe like for example Dropbox, and so on and so forth. So these are the integration, right? And once you done that, it will come to the inbox. It's like this, it will come to the inbox. Then you have here what you do. See, you click this, then you publish. So once you publish here, it will straight away take into the Xero. So all the beautiful, only what you have to do a minimal data entries there. You don't want to create a separate all the category. I mean the chart of accounts and the suppliers, name, everything automatically will be created. So this is the best software in the world. Most of the companies, accounting firms are using for their clients. Right? How are you going to connection? If you look at the connection here, can you see the integration? Right? If you click this integration, say for example, so all the integrations is Xero. At the moment, this is the integration with Xero. So you have to basically it's a Xero setting, right? And if you say, for example, if you want to cost the invoice fetch, right? So you have a Dropbox here, and you have a PayPal, right? So you can add items through PayPal, or you have a say mileage claim, right? So all the beautiful characteristics are there. And if you go for here bank, the same thing. So this is a receipt bank app. So at the bank fee, you don't need to. So once you've done that, just very minimal. Your minimal data entry will be here. Right. So these are basically at the bank fee, and everything will be perfectly available. Right. So now we go for the what do you call the Xavier. The Xavier is a new application, like receipt bank. I'm going to show this. It's a very beautiful software. It's an effective reporting start with the accurate data. Like it's award-winning toolkit for Xero, especially for Xero accounting professional, is a award-winning toolkit, right? Okay. So if you go here straight down, and says basically it was a cleanup. This is the cleanup inside tool. It's like a data analytics. I say, for example, automatically to spot the anomalies and duplicates, the historical changes. Straight away it will clean the spot. And you can track the client data, client data health and the performance and the report. You can create and share flexible report. And Xavier is a toolkit it's a very intelligent data cleanup. The bookkeeping and the compliance tool designed specially for the Xero profession. This is basically you can try. So you can try, and you have login version is there. What are the flexible? You have a flexible reporting, and it will reduce the errors on a daily basis by identifying the miscoding. If there's any miscoding, it will basically identify the errors. And you have key liabilities and quick spotting and warner changes and so on and so forth. And especially, they have because of due to the pandemic situation. Okay, so it's a effective reporting. Start with the accurate data. So it will demolish the duplicate and clean up your code and regular suppliers, and so you have these are the features available in the Xavier. The key features are on inside feature can identify the duplicates quickly and easily using Xavier's machine learning. So it's very artificial intelligent and clean up your code. So what can Xavier can identify miscoded? For example, sometimes invoice will be miscoded invoice and the transaction based on the contract history, and it will check it out. So integrate Xavier into process. If you integrate into Xero, basically it will check it out. And you have a create custom report. And just for example, how does it work? Okay. And you have a say, for example, you have a practice overview. You have a dashboard, is a practice dashboard. See, so this is a practice dashboard. Let me share this. So it's basically a demo company. So it will take time, and okay, they are doing.
I think, hi guys, I think it's time for everyone to raise questions, Q&A until Shafraz does the Xavier integration. And so let me, uh, as Shafraz explained, Xero is one of the beautiful accounting platforms right now in the world, right? This company with the QB in some markets like Australia and New Zealand, they have already captured the market. So as cloud accounting and third-party applications becomes a crucial component for today's digital landscape, with business and consumers alike connected and dependent on the cloud 24/7, a large number of endpoints make cloud-based networks vulnerable to cyber breach of all kinds. All right, so there are security issues, but for each of all these platforms, they have introduced the assurance certificates. All right, so as a result, the industry of security software, which includes both security for cloud networks as well as SaaS security solutions, is constantly on the rise. People working from home or remotely, so a lot of opportunities now available. So now, as Shafraz explained, all these UK accounting and bookkeeping, they can learn basically from our institute. All right, so we have introduced a course 3 weeks ago, the UK accounting and bookkeeping course. So let me share my screen now. So this is the UK accounting and bookkeeping practical course. This is a practical course actually conducted by Shafraz. So we'll be doing basically the bookkeeping, the payroll management, the UK VAT, and the receipt bank app integration, and we are planning to integrate the Xavier integration as well, and the financial accounting. Everything will be covered in order within like 21 hours time. So if you prefer to join weekly basis, you can complete in basically in 4 weeks. And apart from that, we have some introduced other courses such as cloud accounting for SME. So yeah, you can learn all three best cloud accounting platforms such as Xero, QuickBooks, and MyOb Essentials. In the MyOb Essentials, we will be covering a little bit about the Australian accounting and bookkeeping stuff. And this one also you can complete in 18 hours, or it will goes up to only 3 weeks. And there's another one, Xero Certified Advisor course. We have introduced, all right, some time ago, actually 6 months ago. This is the certificate will be coming from the Xero head office, New Zealand. So you can see you can enroll for 7,500 rupees. It's a very, very the cost-effective price, So all these offers are valid until 31st July, all right? So then we are going to increase the prices back to our normal prices. So this course also you can complete in 18 hours. And it will, if you want to join for the weekend or weekday batch, then it will go up to like again 3 weeks or 4 weeks. But if you want, if you want to learn these course, within consecutive days, then you can complete in 18 hours. Basically, it is 3 hours per day you have to do. Then we introduced another course called Virtual CFO Practical Course by SMEs. So we are focused on the analysis side of the financial analysis, the reporting, integration with the FADM, and the SIFT analysis, and the data deer, and also Spotlight reporting. Spotlight reporting is the #1 application tool in the Xero app market. So we'll be showing how to do the integration, how to synchronize the data from one platform to another, and do the analysis like benchmarking, and the consolidation and alerts and non-financial KPIs. Everything will be covering. So you can enroll for like 12,000 rupees. All right, this is the discounted price available. So all these offers we have given for these students basically. So during this pandemic time, so we are going to increase these prices. So as I said to you before. So now, if you have any queries, you can raise. You can ask these questions. So because we have like another 10 to 15 minutes time available for this session. And also, I have some few questions I need to ask from Shafraz. Now, Shafraz, yes, so what are the stimulus and relief packages introduced by the UK government during the global pandemic, other than the tax cuts? So I heard recently in UK, I saw an article on BBC. In UK, there's a £4 billion cut in VAT has come into force, allowing firms in the food, drink, and hospitality sector to slash prices. So what are the other the stimulus and relief packages introduced by the UK government?
Yes, well, let me share there's other screen. Let me share my screen. So there's a list of the UK, the really, especially unlike the Sri Lankan government, the especially UK government, they're offering most. So let me share my screen that.
And also, guys, if you have any questions, now it's the time for you to, penetrate. Yeah, you can have questions regarding about the tax component, or might be about the courses, or even it might be about regarding transactions. So whatever the questions, it's the golden time for all. Yeah. Yeah, Shafraz. Yeah. Sorry, you were saying something.
Yes, yeah, that's right. Yes.
And also, Shafraz, on top of what Paul's question, so I have a questions like, so was there any particular grants were offered during the pandemic situation by the government of UK? So I think one special thing what you mentioned about is the tax component has been reduced for different sectors. So that's a wonderful job the UK government has done. Right. So apart from that, so have they come up with something like a grant kind of a thing, like a fund management where they allocate some funds to the business, kind of like a SMB market? Was there any kind of a solution like that?
Yes. Let me, yes. So if you apart from this UK, the Chancellor that he has introduced that, especially as I mentioned in my presentation, for example, especially the tax cut is from 20% to 5% for the hospitality and especially the restaurants and the pubs and cinemas. Apart from that, if you look at here, according to is very famous in UK, the tax assist accountant, they are doing on a franchise basis, is very popular. So if you look at the especially pandemic, coronavirus, our advice and resources are guide through to support available to you during the COVID-19 outbreak. Okay. So now, for example, if you look at
Hello, Shafraz, are you there?
Sure, yeah.
Right, yeah,
So,
Shafraz, yeah.
it's fine. You all can see my screen?
No, I
not yet,
we
sir.
cannot.
I think you should, share, yeah.
Can, okay, fine. Yeah, thank you. So if you go for here, the funding, say this is a okay, these are the different topics because this is, so even when I am working, in UK, especially I normally go this particular accountant because they are in UK, it's a very old, very old accountant. Okay, if you go here, funding, right? So these are the funding schemes available. Okay, let's, if you can, Paul, if you can show this. Can you able to this? The screen can be seen, no, for everyone.
I think we can't still see. I think you should share the screen, Shafraz. Is it
really? Okay. I will share my screen here.
Sure. When you share, it will be appearing.
Sure.
And meanwhile, when till Shafraz shares, so we also can input some of the benefits of cloud software. I mean, so that's one important thing where Shafraz also clearly mentioned. Because if you take us also, I'm also from ERP consultant background. So we know what's the benefit of cloud. Sorry, so now the world is changing. So the people are more, changing from a traditional software for a cloud. So the business continuity is another subject where they will be focusing. Yeah. So we can talk about this a little bit later as well. So once Shafraz is sharing, so meanwhile he's sharing, we can share our thoughts about this software as well. Yeah, Shafraz, did you share?
I think you're on mute, so.
Yeah, Shafraz, you're on mute.
So it's basically the summary of COVID-19 funding schemes made available by the government of England, not only the England, the Scotland and Wales. And so let's have a good. So how to get a grant? Okay, if you go here, and emergency, there's one is emergency grant yet to be deployed to a business in urgent need. So around, okay, let's take this one.
Okay.
Emergency grant yet to be deployed to a business in urgent need. Yes, so that's around 1.7 million, the funds set aside by the small. So this is what, that you have asked, small business grant. So especially
they have
for
allocated a fund. Superb.
Yes.
Superb thing, superb.
And, so especially the schemes are around here.
Yeah.
Especially for the, so this is one scheme. And if you look at other ones, especially in terms of the cash crisis and the cash management, right? And the hardship for the fund announced for the small business, especially in the Northern Ireland. So these are the, this kind of hardship. So for example, okay, so small businesses in Northern Ireland, right? So the people, for example, business must meet the following criteria. So must be based in the Northern Ireland, right? And as of February, 2020, they must have employed 1 and 9. So these are the certain criteria. And who cannot apply for the hardship fund. And the businesses eligible for the following is, 10,000 small business support grant and 10,000 small business grant for the rental property. And those receiving 25,000 retail, hospitality, tourism, leisure grant, everything is there. So these are basically the few the grant is available. So that's the one thing. And the other one is especially here, small business to receive 100% taxpayer bonds on the back loan. So these are the, if you go for here, the resources, under resources, they have, so knowledge hubs.
Okay.
So self-employment support scheme, and especially for the furlough. For example, if you take a furlough scheme, right? This is a one kind of a special scheme. Job retention as furlough scheme has been designed to support the especially employees who have been adversely affected by it. So these are, for example, this is, I think, this job retention scheme allows employees to access grant covering 80% of the eligible employees. It's a wage cost up to a cap of 2,500 per work per month. So this is also a very good one, And likewise, there are, especially employers to contribute to furlough staff costs from August onwards. And sometime recently I heard that they have deferred already for the people who are especially affected because of this coronavirus, they have deferred.
Yeah, Shafraz. There was a loss of,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yes.
Right.
So basically, so those are the schemes,
These are the things. Yeah,
Yes.
and also another question is, Shafraz, like, what do you see from a, let's say, from a accounting perspective or from a finance perspective? What are the like major differences you see from Sri Lankan operation to the UK operation? Because, for an example, I think in UK they have their own, like, say, a tax engine where we have our own tax engine, for an example. Then they have a loan scheme, because we know, like in Europe countries and like countries like USA, they have a medical insurance. So you can see this can be a impacting factor for a business, for an individual. But in Sri Lanka, we don't have such a scheme like that. So what are the like one or two major points you see, for our audience to get some knowledge? You know, what are the like major differences you find from a UK practice to a Sri Lankan practice?
Yes. So if basically if you take a UK practice, because I would say from the Sri Lankan point of view, if you compare the UK practice, so for example, as a business owner of a UK firm, I am registering as I could be the limited company, or it could be like as the sole trader. So if you look at the limited company, right? So once you have registered, right, they have a flexibility. So for example, okay, take like this. Okay, I want to apply for a loan, right? Especially for I don't have a say for
Okay.
example the startup, especially startup loan, right? So in terms of the startup loan, the bank you can access to funds through the UK bank is very easily. It's a major market. You know, like in UK, you have not only banks, right? If you go for example, the
Okay.
crowdfunding. So you have so many crowdfunding, the agencies are there, the firms are there. So it's easy access to the loans. Unlike, you know, in Sri Lanka,
Okay.
you will see it will take months, you know, like, but in UK, if you just given, like,
Exactly.
for example, like 5-year cash or something, it's like, you know, it's like it takes about nearly about a day, or even not a day, I would say. On that day or 2 days, you can get easy loan. So that's what I would say in compared to, you know, the Sri Lanka. The startup loan is there, and for example, not only the startup loans, just first line. So not only the startup loans, and
Yeah.
you have other
That's it.
other
That's it. Yeah,
benefits.
go on.
Yes, other benefits, like for example, if you take, so suddenly my business has, say something happened to my business, and I lost my business.
Okay.
So what I can do is I can go to the government and ask for some kind of the benefits. It's like employment support allowance scheme, and you have a there has statutory
What are the
benefits are there. You know, so those things, you know, is like, you know, unlike Sri Lanka, those supports can be get from the government. Employment support allowance, and you have,
Support
say for
structures
example,
are more helpful for entrepreneurs.
sorry? Yes,
I
yeah,
was
that's
saying,
correct.
but I was saying I was inputting. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. So it's very, you know, it's in UK, you know, it's very beautiful. You know, everyone can access to, and the opportunities are huge, huge opportunities are in UK, unlike Sri Lanka.
Right.
So that will
Sri
be
Lanka.
the great. Yeah.
So these are like, like one or two questions I had on a high notch. So this is the beauty of this, this the program that we offer, isn't it, Paul? Like we will
Yes.
teach about the UK business practices along with software, because like we know, so as like Shafraz clearly mentioned, so now you can see the world is changing, guys. The world is not about like on-premise solution where like not thousand, sorry, like couple of years back, they were like using, all these legacy systems. But now the technology is cloud. Anywhere, anytime you access, you do the transaction. So from a business perspective, from a owner perspective, our time should be more into like decision making, not for data entry or to worry about how we save the data, how you take the backup. So that's where the cloud comes and play a major role for your strategic decisions. So, and on top of
Yes.
that, I think in our UK bookkeeping, we will be covering up, certain business practices which are like very much unique to UK, like will be incompetent. So it's about the UK, the bookkeeping, along with a cloud platform where how we can capture those things and how we can digitize our business. So that's what I think Shafraz, even the webinar was talking. So he was talking about the tax components, their VAT components, what are the things they have done during the COVID, some of the like the strategic decisions taken by the government, right? And certain, accounting practices he empathized. Anything else, Paul, you want to add up? Yeah, any
And I
questions you
just
have
want to
got?
ask
Or
you
any
from
questions?
Shafraz, so is there any bailout that UK government has done during last 2 month period?
So say again, Paul?
So is there any bailout that UK government has done during the last two periods?
That is, of course, I'm not sure about that one.
Okay.
So basically, so I think yes, probably the government might have.
Yeah, I think
because,
so. What I heard, I saw an article they have introduced, like they released 30 billion, to the small and medium business which are affected by the COVID-19, and my other question is what are the tax codes available in Xero UK edition to record the transactions? Like if you take in the Xero Australian edition, we have like VAT excluded, GST on sales, GST on expenses. So what are the tax codes available in Xero UK editions?
Yes, yeah, so basically, if you look at the Xero edition, right, in the Xero edition, we are calling as a VAT, value added tax. So we have a 20% standard, like Australia, okay. So the GST and the VAT. So in UK, you have a standard 20%, and also basically we are calling as a 5% and 0%. So it's a value added return, is a VAT return. So VAT return is the one that we have to file to the HMRC, that is the Inland Revenue Department. Like Australia, we are filing is a basically the bus. So
Yes.
under here, especially the standard is 20% VAT. So most of the UK business organization, if you look at the UK point of view, most of the business organizations, they are buying like 20% products and services. Very rare. For example, if you take a bakery, the bakery, of course, mostly the bread items, all those stuffs are zero. So I would say 75%, 80% is mostly standard. Therefore, it's a VAT return. We are calling as a VAT. So that is how we are basically filing every 3 months. And nowadays, even the UK government, they have deferred the VAT payment due to this pandemic. So they have given flexible time to give the business organization to pay, at a free, the flexible time period they have given.
Okay. So can we lodge VAT returns and the employee contribution through Xero to the HMRC? Through Xero, can be done?
Yes, yeah, possible.
Okay.
When we are filing the VAT returns, so automatically nowadays, since the UK government making digital, it's called making tax digital. So it's very compulsory from April 2020 onwards. Therefore, through MDT, it could be the VAT, it could be the business tax, it could be the self-employment. So what the tax office can do is they can real time, they can monitor the business transactions. So if you file from Xero, straight away is taken into the HMRC portal. So on the IR mark, it will be there. Okay, this particular tax return or VAT return is submitted. Yes, that is possible. That is where the HMRC has adopted the MDT, which is called, we are calling as a making tax digital. Is very important. Therefore, integration, definitely, the integration is available with the HMRC and the Xero.
As Sri Lankans, we wish we have those kind of systems, here in Sri Lanka. Unfortunately, we don't have, that's a problem. And I have my last question. So can we integrate Xavier directly with Xero? Is there a possibility we can?
Yes, why not? Because yes, that's possible. Because it's, as I mentioned, the Xavier is basically, it's the special platform is suited for the accounting, especially Xero accounting profession, right? So that's what even in Xavier website they are mentioned. So why they are choose Xero? Because Xero is very smart, So having Xavier can choose the different the software, like it could be so so because of the Xero is working smart, right? On top of the other software, the Xavier has mentioned the Xero especially for the Xero accounting professional. So therefore, yes, of course, we can do that. So especially, the less minimal, the error and the real-time data reporting, mostly it's a cleanup. If there's a miscode or if there's any errors, so then, the Xavier will the cleanup those processes. So that could be possible. Integration is available. Xero and the Xavier integration is available. Yes.
Okay. I think one important factor, Paul, I think even Shafraz was mentioning, because Xero has this amazing capability of integrating more than 800, like outside products. So that should be the main reason. So that's the beauty about, Xero, that it can be like integrated for like different third-party systems. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, and not only that, basically, Xero has a lot of, it could be CRM app, it could be a payment. For
Exactly.
example, when I'm working, we are calling as a Go Cardless. This Go Cardless is one of the best app available in the UK market, right? It's like, for example, Stripe. It's a Go. I mean, it's a Go Cardless is better than Stripe. So there are so many payment gateway apps, and your CRM app, and your inventory app, and the practice management nowadays. And also, the
And
recently, I'm
point
very
of
happy
sale,
that.
going up.
Yes, I'm happy nowadays is Xero has brought up the accounting and the tax has come into the Xero as well. So earlier it was a bookkeeping, now the accounting and the tax also come as Xero. So they are now Xero is moving very fast. A lot of the the organizations they are adopting and they are they make use of Xero
Pretty
software as
much,
well.
yeah. Well,
So other thing is, can Xavier integrate with the receipt bank directly?
Yes, that's possible.
Okay.
Xavier will, yes, that's possible. Yes,
Okay.
because the Xavier, the Xero, and the receipt bank all is all three in one. So that could be possible.
Okay. I think we are running out of time, Maro. I think it's time for us to wind up. Conclude the session. So if you have any queries, just let us know. We can give you like another 2 minutes. And also, if you would like to enroll for any of our courses, you can contact us 076 717 6716, our hotline number, and you can enroll. So we'll be giving you the instructions. How to register for our courses. Faslan, you are muted.
sorry, yes.
Yeah.
So what I was telling is like our course, especially the UK bookkeeping, is specialized about the UK bookkeeping. Apart from that, there are practices along with the Xero product. Yeah. So all these courses has a different kind of depth and understanding, and also a knowledge sharing. So you can enroll for this course, as Paul said, where you can get some insight, because all these professionals, we are like professionals. Like if you take for an example Shafraz, so who has been working in UK, so he knows the practices, so we can have all this real-time experience shared to our students. Yeah.
And well, thank you very much, Faslan. And one more thing I want to add, the Faslan. The thing is, when in real case in UK. So, for example, if you take, when I'm working practically, so most of the client they come with the sales, and even from free agent, even from the QuickBooks they are coming, and they ask. So what is the difference between QuickBooks also working like Xero? So what is the difference in between the QuickBooks and the Xero? So I mentioned QuickBooks, at the moment is, the market is, basically outdated. Whereas Xero, you can do a very beautiful, it's just like a real-time decision-making reporting, and even the auto bank reconciliation, there are so many apps integrated. So, like the clients are very happy to migrate into Xero. So that's also possible. And also, other thing is, especially in the UK, most of the UK firms, right, they are started to use the Xero as well. And especially in Sri Lanka nowadays, mostly the foreign direct investments are coming, and a lot of, especially like, BPO companies, especially they are started to do their, as like Australian bookkeeping, they are started to do the UK bookkeeping as well. As there are so many companies are there in Sri Lanka. So this is why this course is very popular. So this is a very practical course oriented. So therefore, it's better to have a practical exposure with this course.
Exactly.
Like for example, since the Sri Lankan market is, it's great for especially the BPO accounting firms, especially the UK bookkeeping, and even in future, very near future, the Sri Lanka special BPO firm, they are going to conduct the UK accounting as well as the payroll as well. Already they are doing, but they are going to conduct the accounting, especially as an accountant, the mostly the Xero can do the sort of advisory services. If you take a Xero practice management, it's very beautiful, So those are the special characteristics available in Xero.
So as you said, like there will be a lot of employment opportunities for like the future for BPO, KPO, especially for the UK business.
Correct.
So I think that's
Correct.
one point where Shafraz, where our students can get the in-depth. So they'll be like prepared in a case like when there is employment opportunity in the future. So yeah, they can enroll. And and also the other thing is, as you said, apart from the business practice, the product is wonderful. Xero is, like it's a wonderful product. And one important thing we also feel is that Xero is for accountants, non-accountants. So if I say finance, non-finance guy, both, but QB is more sorted for like little bit of accountant. So that is like different product has their strength, but Xero is superb. So yeah, as you correctly said.
Yes, that's correct. As Fazlan mentioned, yes, Xero is, we are laymen, like for example, the profession. So anyone can easily understand the Xero. Unlike, if you take the other software, but Xero, everyone, even, like for example, anyone can understand, for even UK client, they don't know about the much knowledge of the software, but they quickly, they have get used to with Xero. So, in such a way, so that is why most of the clients are going towards Xero.
Superb, Shafraz. We hope that this session has been so good for you all, because he actually provided the 360 view of a business transaction which is happening in UK, and also he touched about certain topics like how the UK government had like strategically helped during the COVID-19. So these are like real-time factors where the business people has to think about. And also he was talking about the product and also the employment opportunities in the future. I think, Paul, that's a very good thing for our students, because as he said, like outsourcing their operations to Sri Lanka, where for the UK bookkeeping and payroll processing, where if the students have certain knowledge or certain, let's say, a qualification about all these things, it can be a very a plus point for them. Yeah, Paul, so anything else you want to add up?
There will be many opportunities in the market, so once the things get back to normal, I hope everything will get back to normal soon, so there will be huge demand for this, because now industry needs the people who can think smart, professions who can think smart, so they are looking for a next generation of accountants.
Exactly.
They don't need the profession who stick with the traditional way of doing things.
Traditional way of thinking.
Yeah. So with that, I think it's a wrap up. Thank you very much, Shafraz, for your time today, and also it was a really great productive session. And also thank you very much, Fazlan, for organizing the and become the moderator. And thank you very much. And until we meet again with another webinar like this, and stay safe and stay limitless and with many blessings. Thank you and good night.
Okay then. See you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Paul. And thank you very much, Paul. Thank you very much, Fazlan.
Yes.
Bye.
See you.
Bye.
See you. Good night.